e-commerce platform selling everything from goods to groceries in Singapore as well. Alright, so that's Lazada. And to me, I enjoy my function as L&D because basically every single day I'm thinking about, okay, what do the young people across the whole Lazada Group need, which is the 6 Southeast Asia countries, right? I'm always thinking, what do they need? What are they interested to learn? What's going to engage them? And that's what I'm thinking about day in, day out for the whole Lazada Group. But then I wear my other hat, which is the National Youth Council hat. So I'm thinking, what do the youth in Singapore need to be future ready? Future ready, that's a big key theme and key concern for young people in Singapore. So to me, it's a beautiful combination where basically whatever I'm doing in my professional life, I get to do it in my personal life. And my whole being is there and thinking about this, so that's why I want to share with you today. And the approach that I have for today is I thought about what would be most helpful for you guys. So I thought about it this way. I wanted to give whatever perspectives I had at the big high level, theme level, so that all of you with your creativity, you can take these big themes and then you have a lot of flexibility to interpret them artistically, right? But then the second thing that I thought would be helpful is, other than just giving you the big themes, it's also to just talk about the individual experiences, because to me, good art really speaks to or really reflects the individual's experience, the emotive, visceral experience, right? So that's what I want to bring to all of you. I'll bring you the big themes and just really share with you the individual experience in a tech company, because this is the future of work or experiences. Hopefully that's helpful for you guys, and that's how I've set it up. Thanks. So basically, these are the 6 themes I'll talk about. Remote talent, high mobility, the multicultural aspect, everything in the future of work is a project, new frontiers, shorter cycles, and persona or social centricity, right? So I'll talk about each of these at a deeper level so that we can, I can give you as much trigger points to really push your creativity. Thanks, next slide. Okay, so remote talent mobility. First off, anybody here not Singaporean? A few non-Singaporeans, right? Yeah, good. So you guys are a minority in this room, but as everything continues to unfold, you're going to see 30%, 40%, 50% of the room will be non-Singaporeans, right? Where are you from? Bangalore, India, right? Cool. Where are you from? Philippines. Kamusta, kamusta. All right, awesome, right? So again, remote talent and mobility. So basically, the workforce, or the future of work, is you're going to be, any non-working people, meaning students. Any students in the room? Everyone's some students? Okay, right. Good. So in the workforce, we're used to full-time day jobs, right? That's the norm that a lot of working people are used to. But no. Moving forward, you're going to see a lot more visitors, part-time people coming in for just 2-3 weeks, 1 month, and then they're gone. You don't see them again. So that's going to become it's a strange social thing that the people that have been in the workforce for a while, it's a new thing. You're going to have a lot more part-time people or a lot more of the gig workforce coming in. I think you guys are familiar with Fiverr. You're familiar with these sort of short gigs. So again, this is a huge trend. And what does that mean for the individual, right? I see somebody and then they're gone. It's almost like a visiting intern and then they're gone. You build relationships and they're gone. Suddenly someone new is in. That's the individual impact, right? Other than that, because talent is remote, because we have Zoom, because we can do everything remotely, two big implications is one, cross-border reporting lines, meaning your boss, your colleagues, your team members are not even in Singapore. So you can't even say, hey, let's meet at this co-working space at Escape. Not possible, right? Different countries. Second, cross-border project teams, right? So first off, think about your boss is not in the same country as you. How are you going to really talk to your boss? How are you going to feel that support? How are you going to feel that, hey, boss, I have this family issue, right? It's very difficult. It's a totally different thing that people just aren't so used to, right? And then, of course, when it comes to cross-border project teams, all the more so. We've tried to do projects in school, right? That was already difficult. Imagine doing that on a cross-border context, all the more difficult, which really feeds into the next slide, which is the whole multicultural aspect, right? The whole multicultural aspect. And this is huge. Lazada is in the 6 Southeast Asian countries, right? What does that mean? The ways of working, since this is the norm, since we're always working cross-border, how do you harmonize, or how do you get people to sort of work around a similar or consistent way of working? Even though Lazada is about 9 years old, 10 years old this year, we still haven't found a good way for everyone to have a good rhythm and everyone sort of working the same way, because cultural differences are just so strong, right? And a big key part of that is communication. Okay, I think you guys would be familiar that Lazada is part of the Alibaba Group, which is in China, right? The big behemoth in China, right? So if we have big Chinese tech teams, how are they working with Southeast Asia, where not everybody speaks Chinese, obviously, right? So the issue of language, big problem, big problem. In fact, the real thing now is because Lazada, we've lost a lot of good talent. Good talent meaning they left because once there's 6 Chinese people in the meeting room and 1 Brian or 1 foreigner, they will automatically revert to Chinese because that's the majority of the group. And then the non-Chinese speaking person is going to feel left out or second class, or they will feel that forcing everyone to speak English, I feel bad, I feel guilty forcing everyone to speak English just because of me, right? So again, the whole language thing really is an issue. So what we're doing now is we literally are starting, like in Singapore, let's speak English, let's use English first campaign in Lazada, right? So that everyone knows that if there's one non-English, if there's one non-native speaker in the room, everyone converts to English so that nobody feels left out, nobody feels like a second-class citizen, and nobody feels guilty for forcing other locals. For example, I'm wearing 2 hats. I'm also a leader for the Thailand team. I know when I go into a meeting, they would love to quickly get things done and speak in Thai, but because I'm there, they have to slow down, use use English, which is definitely not a strength for them, right? So then the communication issue is very, very real. And social norms is huge. Social norms is a huge issue because in China, for example, you've all heard of this 996 thing, right? Okay, part of it, so the truth behind that is, part of it is that in Alibaba, they are paid overtime. But in Singapore and Lazada, they're not paid overtime. So they're very happy to work way past, because they get paid for it, but not across the Lazada Southeast Asia countries. So again, policy issues, societal norms really come into play. Another norm that you guys would not be familiar with is that in China, because Alibaba is such a glamorous thing, a lot of people, they leave their spouse and their children in their hometown, and they go work and live near the Alibaba campus. So they're alone. So when it comes to 6 o'clock, they don't need to go home to take care of their families, spend time with their families. That's why they, again, happily work until 11, 12 at night, because they have nowhere to go to. They have no family to take care of. Totally different story for us here in Singapore. Totally different story for people in Southeast Asia. Right? So again, these are some of the real multicultural issues. Next one. Okay, everything is a project. Do we still remember doing projects, starting a new project team in school? We remember that, right? We remember that. It's fun for some of us have bad memories. That's basically the norm moving forward. Every single thing we do moving forward is a project, which means implications are that every team it's an agile, multidisciplinary project. So meaning every project team is people from different functions. Someone from HR, someone from business, someone from comms, someone from PR. That's the project team. We go, we move in very short, intensive sprints. Very short, intensive sprints. We work together really hard for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then the team dissolves. So this is basically the norm that and so again, what does that mean? People need to be very comfortable quickly making friends, quickly working out how to work together, and then quickly dissolving once again, disappearing, right? So that is the norm. Agile is the word, right? So everything is a project. That's definitely a key way of moving forward. Next slide. Okay, so personas and social centricity. So personas, I think some of us are familiar, right? Personas is a certain type of profile. For example, Gen Z profiles, silver, senior profiles, right? So everyone, all the organizations, they basically bucketed all of us into profiles because there's so much data around how we behave online. There's so much personal data about how we are, right? So therefore, big data is just going to continue to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow, right? So therefore, organizations, Lazada, Facebook, they're just going to know you more and more and more and more as an individual because their objective is hyper-personalization and customization. How many of you allow Facebook how many of you accept the cookies and allow Facebook to, track some of your personal data? Anybody allows? You allow? Jeffrey allows? I actually allow. Because I like the ads, I want the ads, and I've bought a lot of new products or I've explored new products which were really accurately pushed to me, right? So, but again, some of you that don't, that's fine, totally cool, but to me, you're just going to see more and more of this. So therefore, we need to decide how do you want to interact with technology? How open do you want to be? How comfortable do you want to be? Because if you want good ads, targeted ads, or accurate ads, then you have to open up. And then what are the implications of that, right? And then of course, technology, I think we all understand that. Okay, this one a little bit more ambiguous, but this should be good information for you guys. So previously, so when I say short cycles, I'm talking about these few things: skills, jobs, and team structures, right? So skills, typically, the half-life of skills is 5 years, meaning that a skill that you have may be in maybe a particular language, programming language, maybe a particular skill set. Usually, the half-life of skills is about 5 years, meaning after 5 years, the skill begins to decline in value, or half in value, right? The half-life of skills is getting shorter, probably about 4 years now, right? Meaning that a skill that you have now is only going to be valuable in the market for shorter and shorter periods of time. So you're just going to see that become even shorter as time goes on. So what are the implications of that? That means reskilling has to be something that's normal for all of us. Always have to be reskilling, always have to be learning new things because our skills decline in value so quickly. Job roles. I can tell you in Lazada it's a norm. People stay in one job role for about 1.5 years and then they switch job roles. Sometimes it's voluntary, sometimes it's not, right? But again, so if you're expecting 5 years, 10 years in one job role, will not exist moving forward. And because your job roles change, that means team structures change. So again, if you're banking on this is going to be my boss, these are going to be my teammates, I love this team, I love my boss, I'm going to be with them forever, fairy tale, not going to happen anymore, right? So all of these much shorter cycles for skills, for the roles of the job, and therefore the teams and the people that you're used to. So that means, again, everyone has to be, in a way, I'm sort of describing a very nomadic future, where everything is about hot desking. You're hot desking in which job you sit, hot desking in who you work with. It's basically a hot desking life, is what I'm describing. Is that dystopian or utopian? Depends on what you're inclined towards, right? So again, interesting ways you can interpret this. Short cycles. Thanks. Next slide. New frontiers. So basically, we're moving into a space, I think you know, metaverse, NFTs, all these sort of things. It's all new frontier work. Therefore, this will also become very much the norm within your companies. Constant experimentation, not just with the products and the services, but constant experimentation in how you function within your organization. Organizations right now, they're experimenting. Should we do hot desking or permanent seats? Should we do pantries or buffet? What should we do, right? Everyone is experimenting. Nobody knows what's the right way, what's the right formula, depending on the cultural context, depending on the country, depending on the demographic, whether we have a lot of older people in our organizations, or whether we have a lot of Gen Zs. Everyone is experimenting, so therefore, expect a lot of change, expect a lot of, this policy works, and then no, they shut it down after 6 months, right? A/B testing, so those of you not familiar, this is a good term to think about. A/B testing or split testing. Basically, everything is an A/B test. Everything is a split test. They're going to try pantry, they're going to try buffet. Doesn't work, 3 months later, stop pantry. We shift to something else, right? So everything's going to be done that way. And then, of course, the cultural norm is fail fast, learn fast, fail fast, learn fast. A/B test, A/B test. That's the way to think about things. Cool. Okay, so my absolute last slide, thank you, is this. So those are the 6 themes I went through with you guys. I hope that was helpful. Very quickly, the last part, in the center of it to me, which I think is an interesting perspective, is because millennials and Gen Z are making up the bulk of a lot of the cool companies, and you guys are really taking over the workforce. So therefore, naturally, or whether people know it or not, pop culture has to be a part of how you do engagement. Pop culture has to be a part of how you do your comms. Pop culture has to be a part of how you want to interact with your customers as well as your staff, right? So again, this is a very interesting thing that I think a lot of organizations don't realize that yet. So if organizations and leaders are resistant or hesitant about getting into things like TikTok, hesitant on the leaders doing weird, funny videos, getting into the pop culture norms, the organization, that leadership group is going to be disconnected and will slowly begin to just fall behind. So that's one I think we don't hear. This part I think is something we don't really hear a lot about. So to me, that's another thing I just want to share with you guys. Okay, so that's my last slide. I think we have Q&A later, but that's all for now. Thank you.